Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Oscar Talk number 36. Got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot going down. The Golden Globes are next week. Technically, as the time of recording, today is Tuesday, December 6th. So they're going to be next week. So we're giving our final predictions for those. Got lots of critics groups that are giving out winners already. Avatar reactions, Emancipation reactions. It's a crazy week, and I'm joined by Anthony, as always, to talk about all these things.
Yes, hello. Stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of differing things, a lot of, big players kind of making their first impressions. So it's very interesting. And then the Golden Globes, they'll be on a Tuesday this year, which is something to
I
remember.
don't like that.
Yeah, the Critics' Choice, I think, are going to be the first major televised award show. We'll see if they're able to swoop in. I suspect not, because I think what people love about the Golden Globes is the atmosphere and the environment. It feels like a party, because it is
Mhm.
essentially. So I wonder what ends up happening if Critics' Choice and Golden Globes split in terms of their impact and influence on other awards bodies, if they end up canceling each other out. But it is important to note, as far as Golden Globes this year, will people show up too? It's we're not out of
Yeah,
the
Brendan
part.
Fraser isn't, but
Yes, so
I doubt that. I don't know if anyone else on the whale team would show up because of that. Who knows?
I think like Hong Chow would go because she's there for the
A
menu as well.
representative. Yeah,
She would
true,
represent
true.
the film. So it's definitely it's interesting to keep in mind just as far as the influence of the Golden Globes, but I still think in a traditional award season they do have influence because they get
They're going to be
eyes.
televised.
Yeah, and they're televised. So we shall see what ends up happening.
Yes, that will be last. That will be our big final topic. But first, we've got a few major critics groups giving out their winners. New York, what is it? The New York Film Critics Circle, right? The
Yeah,
NYFCC.
NYFCC.
Yeah, they're one of the like top four critics groups that Drive My Car swept. I think it's actually top three, like the trifecta critic groups, and they gave out their winners. And let's go over those winners. Best Picture went to the best movie of the year, Tar. I mean, I agree.
Isn't it nice that we agree on the best movie of
Yeah,
the year, at least so far? Though I think we'll probably be we'll we'll stay par the
Avatar.
course.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, I was happy to see this one here. I hope Tar because I feel like Tar is going to get in even if it doesn't win a bunch of critic awards. I feel like it's that strong at this point for the picture. So I would have appreciated seeing another movie maybe held up a little bit, like an After Sun or Decision to Leave, kind of like how the critics groups helped Drive My Car get in there last year. But that was not the case here. But I mean, we've still got the LA Films Critics Circle to go, so maybe they will do that. But there will be no sweeping the trifecta like there was last year with Drive My Car. But I love Tar, so I can't really complain.
Yes, I think that speaks to how strong Tar is, at least within the critical community. We'll see what happens when we start getting the industry to vote on, because I do think the critics are going to be the ones that welcome that movie in more so than the industry.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot of respect for Todd Field, a lot of respect for Kate Blanchett. It's a fantastic film, according to us. We always have to be
Mm-hmm.
careful. Films are subjective,
Our bubble.
but we love this movie. And it is, because I do think there's always the question of, the critics have an opportunity to make one of these contenders a must see, and they're doing it with a film that people already are aware of. So I think that, again, that bodes very well for Tar going
Mm-hmm.
forward. I am interested to see what LAFCA does, the LA Film Critics Circle or Committee or
Association.
Association. Yes, LAFCA. Oh my God, it's been a long but it's I'm interested to see what they do, but we should always keep in mind that these groups aren't predictive. They're not trying to, you know, predict what's going to be an
No,
Oscar
there are
frontrunner.
no
So
critics' choice.
yeah, so it's just, it's great for Tar. Hopefully it can maintain this momentum when it goes into SAG and all the guilds and then the Oscars, coming Oscars.
Yes, yes. Best director went to a little bit of an unexpected choice, but I like to see it. SS Rajamouli for RRR ended up winning Best Director here, which is nice. Nice to see that movie get a spotlight. It seems like the critics really like this movie as well. So yeah. Very, very good choice.
Very nice choice, but one that will not translate.
No, probably not. If there's going to be an international director, I do not think it will be, just because I think that movie not being submitted in foreign film does really, international feature does really hurt it, because that's where it would be nominated. I think it could still sneak in places like original song. That's probably its best bet.
I think that's the only place it could sneak in. But
Yeah.
just because we want it to happen doesn't mean it will. Let's go
Mhm.
back to Glasgow from Wild Rose. That was a very popular
Yeah.
choice among, the indie crowd and among a smaller minority. But, if it comes between, RRR and nominating somebody like Billie Eilish for Turning Red, who just won an Oscar this past year for No Time to Die, you tend to go for the more well-known
Or The
projects.
Weekend for Avatar, The Way of Water.
Yes, who's also an Oscar nominee for 50 Shades of Grey for that first movie.
Hmm.
So, you know,
Yep.
hope for. I would love to see, some Bollywood representation at the Oscars, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I still think it could maybe get song. That's really it. But it's nice to see the movie getting rewarded places. Then Best Actress went to, speaking of Tar, Kate Blanchett for Tar. I think expected, think she's gonna probably sweep the season. I'm still thinking she's our winner in actress. Um, they could have gone with something else like, Daniel Deadwyler for Till, or something more creative, but Kate Blanchett seems pretty undeniable.
So far, yes, I agree. I think it
So
it
far,
will
so good.
change when you start getting the industry voting, the stake eaters. You know,
Hmm.
we'll see.
Who would they vote for if not Blanchett?
I think
I don't think they'd vote for Michelle Yeoh. Probably
what
Deadwyler.
mm, I
That
think they're
seems
gonna
like the
vote.
most baity.
This is the thing. I tend to go with what is the character that is going to offend the least amount of people. And to me, that's why I am still strong on Michelle
Oh,
Williams.
Michelle Williams. Yeah.
Because despite the only thing I think that could hurt Michelle Williams inevitably might be that some people might be like, oh, she's a cheater, she cheats on her family. Like that's the only
Oh, yes.
thing I could see happening because I did bring it up to people and I was surprised to hear like one person be like I wouldn't want her as my mom, somebody who cheats, which maybe speaks more of that person than Michelle Williams. But I could see
Yeah.
maybe that subconsciously affecting her, but I don't think so because again the movie's from the guy like the movie's made by the son of the mother, so obviously he wants to
Yeah.
immortalize her goodwill. So I still think that Michelle Williams, when it comes to the industry voting, and also you got to remember one of the reasons I'm still strong on Michelle Williams is that she will be the most nominated person without an Oscar in her category, most likely, with five. I think that's
Yeah.
guaranteed, actually, given who's in contention. If she's nominated, this will be her fifth nomination without a win. And I think when it comes to the Oscars, we're going to talk about Will Smith with Emancipation later in the episode. The critical community and these other awards are different than when it comes to the Oscar. And when it comes to the Oscar, I think Kate already has two. It's time for Michelle.
True. True. I really don't think that they care about awarding people multiple Oscars, though, as we've seen with Franny McD.
It depends if you've got the goods, and Kate Blanchett obviously
She's
has the
got
goods
goods.
here. So it's definitely it's interesting. It's just because we have it's such different performances, and they're all really worthy. It's very similar to the 2020 year, which is why I think I don't begrudge you staying on Blanchett, who's incredible, and she could end up taking, especially because if that's where they want to honor Tar, if it
Yeah.
maintains its course, and it would be a worthy way to honor the film. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. I'm
Yeah.
just worried about the character and people not liking the character and they take it out on the actor.
True. That is a valid worry to have. Um, Best Actor went to Colin Farrell for both After Yang and Banshees of Inisherin. He's had a great year, probably one of the best years of anyone this year. I mean, four movies: Batman, 13 Lives, After Yang, and Banshees of Inisherin. It seems like he's winning most of the critic awards for Best Actor, not Brendan Fraser. And I think Austin Butler for Elvis will win more of your industry awards. So I think those are your top two. fighting for it, in my opinion.
Colin Farrell, the Andrew Garfield of 2022, as far as being in all
Yep.
these very
Yeah.
popular projects. Yes, I think that we're going to see a Timothy Chalamet, Gary Oldman situation where all the critics go after Colin Farrell, and then when the industry starts voting, it's Austin Butler, because I think people are just
Mhm.
falling in love. They can't help falling in love with Austin
Exactly.
Butler.
Yeah. Austin Butler, undeniable. No, he's deniable, but I think he's up front. Next category, probably one of the more interesting picks here. Best Supporting Actress went to Keke Palmer for Nope.
Yes, I'm so excited. I really
Incredible
hope
performance.
this can.
It's a lead performance,
Well,
if
yeah,
we're
yeah.
being
I mean,
honest. But I'm
yeah.
happy to see her
But I'll
honored
take her
here.
anywhere. I'll take her at Best Documentary Short if it means she gets nominated. I think she's incredible.
Yeah.
Great on SNL this past weekend.
Hmm.
I I mean, I wish it could happen. I just don't think Nope has. If Nope was like getting maybe a production design nomination or cinematography, sound, which I think would all be worthy
I
nominations. I love
wish.
this movie. Um, then maybe she could tag along, but I think it's going to be difficult. But again, crazier things have happened. So anything's possible. Let's see what happens. If she's able to pull off something at LAFCA, maybe Golden Globe will go for her. It's possible, but I think it's very unlikely. Though it would be wonderful to have her and Angela Bassett nominated in the same category. I
That
thought
would
that
be.
would be
Yeah.
delightful, but I think it's enough me still supporting Bassett to get in. So, I think I'll have to just be happy with Queen Ramonda.
Universal is doing all of the category fraud this year with this and Fablemans and
She
she
said,
said,
I
so
attest. Fablemans is correct. Michelle Williams has a best actress level performance. I think
yeah,
Paul Dano is clearly
if she wants
in the
to do
movie
that to
less.
herself, she can do that, I
Yes.
guess. But she
And
would
when
have had
she
a pretty
wins
easy
best
win.
actress in an Olivia Colman type of stunt, you'll all be coming back
There's an
saying,
Olivia Colman, it would be Daniel Deadweather.
no, I'm talking about like somebody who was going to be in supporting. Everybody was like, they're going to win in supporting.
Okay.
They push them in lead, and then everybody's like, oh, they're not going to win, and then they end up winning. I think the same situation is going to happen, and we can replay the tape from what is this number 36 weekly Oscar talk.
36. Yeah. Number
Like,
36.
Anthony was right.
Back in December. But yeah, I'm happy to see her honored because she's a
Yes.
great actress. This is one of her best performances. She was great in the movie. I mean, if you watch like they tweeted them all out because they decide by committee. Um, this was the one that took the longest to decide. There was the biggest gap in between the one they announced before this and this. So I imagine someone probably like gave a pretty good reason to give her the win, and then everyone had to grapple with that. But I like the choice. I like the choice because who knows? Supporting actress, there's no clear front runner. So who knows?
Which I just want to say, I think this speaks well for Jamie Lee Curtis, for Angela Bassett, these kind of more well-known industry figures, because it means that there's not going to be a presumptive indie one. Like if Claire Foy was winning all of these critics groups, then that could maybe build some momentum to the guilds and to the globes and to the critics choice. I think the fact that that's not happening and they're going with left field choices like Keke Palmer means that there will be this idea of we can vote for anybody, and then I think my narrative will go that they're going to vote for maybe the person who they think deserves the honor, maybe over the specific film. I don't know, what do you think? Because I feel like Claire Foy or somebody from Woman Talking would have maybe. I mean, Woman Talking hasn't really been showing up at any of these
Hasn't
things.
released yet, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
we can assume they saw it. I don't think they would
they
vote
probably have. Yeah.
without seeing Women Talking. So like that, I wonder, because it's not really showing up in a lot of these critical groups. People are posting top tens already. It's not on top tens. And again, I'm assuming they've seen it, because I don't know why you would do a movie to release your list
Probably.
without seeing Women Talking. So I'm a little worried, because it's already a movie that I don't think plays to the Academy sensibilities at large, as far as they don't like, as far as, win worthy, they don't seem to like, Power of the Dog loses Dakota.
Mhm.
Roma loses to Green Book. So I was already worried about that movie, and now that it's not even showing up critically, like I wonder if we have another whale on our hands where it's a movie that nobody knows what to do with, and then it just misses out on all these categories that we thought it could get in. And Claire Foy maybe ends up being the one part of the movie that is able to stand apart, and its screenplay.
I think it could be a little bit like a Little Women surprise, where that movie didn't really have amazing buzz and trajectory up until it actually released in December. This one doesn't. This one releases limited in December and then wide in January, so very late release. But I still think it'll get in there. It's not as strong as it used to think it was, so I don't think it's a winning picture anymore. But I still think it's one of those top four that could win picture.
I have a bottom of my 10. I still have it getting in. Again, I think it's going to be like Little Women. It'll be one of those like lower contenders that I think has some support, but not enough. I did take Sarah Polley out of my best director lineup because I
Ooh,
think there's some bigger names that are going to have. I
that
just,
category is
again,
crazy.
seeing a Greta Gerwig's type of situation where, it's a difficult place to be because I think, Todd Field is going to be your indie, your independent film director in there, and then they like to go for spectacle. Ang Lee wins for Life of Pi. You could even argue that for an independent film, Roma is a spectacle, and then Alfonso Cuarón winning for Gravity, Damien Chazelle
Mhm.
winning for La La Land. They love these spectacle movies, and if you already have an indie movie in there with Tar, and then I'm actually, because I'm thinking, where's my
Banshees
Venture
is an
Bird?
indie movie too.
Yeah, I don't have McDonough
That
in.
didn't come.
I have
Oh, you
McDonough.
don't?
No,
Oh,
I took him out. Because again, I'm looking for like directorial achievements, and
for
I'm
who?
looking at
Cameron and
we'll get into Avatar, but I'm looking for that Vinterberg spot that or the Paul Palkowski,
oh,
like this
Park
like
Chan-wook.
scoring director that like gets in there because there's a lot of love for their career and this is their chance to get in. So I'm supporting Park Chan-wook for Decision to Leave.
Joining the train.
Yes. Well, it's funny because
Choo choo.
like we talked last week about After Sun maybe getting in there, and now that After Sun isn't really performing at the critical groups that the way we wanted it to, I think I'm jumping to Decision to Leave. I'm seeing that mentioned more so than After Sun, and I also think it has the international feature bolst, which I
It's gonna
think
win that category.
it'll likely get it'll. Do you have it getting nominated in that category?
Decision to Leave.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's gonna win that category.
I think
All
too. I've read.
Quiet has lost all its buzz, and Bardo
Yeah.
is too divisive.
Yeah, I saw Bardo. I really loved it, but I can understand why it's divisive. But so that's in that world, I could see getting international feature, a screenplay, getting that fifth spot in original, and then maybe
Yeah,
director of picture. Like I could see a world where that happens for that movie. Um,
yeah, I could see that too. Very
I don't
much a
think I'm
Drive My Car.
yeah, I don't think I'm predicted. I think it's number 11 currently for picture. But if Women Talking starts to lose momentum, maybe it can get in, or maybe if Pinocchio doesn't materialize, because I still think we've talked about this, the possibility of Pinocchio getting animated feature nominations. It'll win probably that category.
Oh yeah,
Animated feature noms, and then screenplay maybe, and then visual effects. You have it, I think, in maybe for
production
production
design,
design, score. It could show up in
original
all the
song.
other categories that it then people are just like, yeah, nominated. And then, we talked about Guillermo del Toro being,
Guillermo is so like,
yeah, to do this. He surprised us last year with Nightmare Alley. So it's
and he
definitely,
campaigns.
yeah, it's very interesting. And just one last thing on the Woman Talking, it seems that they are pushing Claire Foy. Claire Foy seems to be the film.
She's the front
Yeah,
runner.
she's
Yeah,
doing all the interviews. She's on the cover of these magazines, which I think they maybe are. They're trying to win, and they're not trying to just get nominations, which is an interesting approach.
yeah, yeah. It's MGM's biggest contender, I'd say. Yeah, definitely. Um, but someone who is out front and just going to sweep the whole season in supporting actor, Ke Huy Quan won. I mean, he's going to win the industry awards, the critic awards. I mean, I would hesitate to say lock, but it seems pretty locked up. I just
I
don't
won't. He's
understand
a lock.
who's number two. Who is it?
Brendan Gleeson is number two.
But
Um,
he can't.
but
That's
he's a
not a
far
winning
number two.
performance.
I'm sorry. On what day of the Oscars? March what,
In
12th,
the
13th,
teens, yeah,
something. On that day, when Steven Spielberg and Ke Huy Quan
they're both
both
gonna
win their
win.
Oscars, and we get that photo op, and maybe Harrison Ford
Harrison
can
Ford
win
should be
Best
there.
Picture, so that all three of them can be there. I want
It
that
writes
picture. I
itself.
want it
Yeah.
framed because
Yeah.
it's
It's
happening.
gonna
It's
it's gonna
happening.
be a great moment.
It's gonna
We're
be a
gonna cut
great
to
moment.
Steven Spielberg applauding when he's giving his speech. He's probably
Yeah.
gonna give him a shout out in his speech. It just makes sense. We
It'll be
talk
like when
about a
Bong
lot.
Joon-ho thanked Martin
Yeah.
Scorsese in
Yeah.
his speech. It's you could just see it happening, and people want that
Exactly.
moment, and he deserves it. It's a beautiful performance, so energetic, so much fun, so heartfelt. Yeah, I just think it's going his way, and that first speech he gave. I forget what organization. I think it was the
Gotham.
Gotham. It was a beautiful speech talking about hearing
Yep.
the three words every actor wants to hear. We want you. It's that stuff really moves people. It really moves SAG, which I think is going to be
Hmm.
what really clinches it for
It's
him.
very
If he can
relatable.
get SAG, he's good. I think even
Oh,
more
he's
than
gonna get
getting a
SAG.
Globe.
Who's gonna win at SAG? Tom
I know,
Hanks?
I'm just saying, but I think if he gets SAG, like remember Rami Malek was like up in the air after the Golden Globes, but then when he won SAG, it was locked. He's winning the Oscar. I think the same thing's going to happen for Ki Hu Kwan, that getting SAG will clinch him for the Oscar because then he'll get to give a speech on an award show that Oscar voters actually will watch. And like Mahershala Ali, when he won for Moonlight after losing the Globe, and then he gave that
Troy
beautiful speech
Kotzer.
about I am a Muslim, like that Troy Kotzer. It's these type of moments build to the Oscars. So I think he's a lock. I really don't know who could
Yeah,
take this up in a
I
Mark
don't see
Rylance like
anyone who could.
twist.
And if there's usually at least one comeback narrative for a win in the acting categories. And I'm sorry, Brendan Fraser, but I think this is the comeback acting win this year. He's got a great narrative.
I mean, I always said that the whale is, he's going to be carrying, a heavy load, no pun intended.
The movie
Um,
is far too divisive.
I mean, it's good. He's
We
he's
haven't
hurt
seen
by
it.
the fact that the movie is not being. It's similar to the Sun. I don't think it's as drastic as the Sun because the Sun got eviscerated. It's like the people who
Someone's
hate
just
that
dead.
movie really hate that movie. But again, when the whale actually comes out, it's I think Brendan Fraser to me seems like Viola Davis and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And that they like the performance is so like incredible and it's visible acting, but it won't go all the way because it's not a picture contender, and he's gonna, it's there's just gonna be other performances that capture the hearts of people more, and so,
Yeah.
we agree that we both think that's Austin Butler at this point.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Next category, best screenplay. Banshees of Inisherin. Martin McDonough wins here. He's gonna win a lot of, I think, critics categories for screenplay. He's very well renowned, especially as a writer, which I think is why he has yet to get a Best Director nomination. I think most people think of him as a writer first and foremost.
He's like the
But yeah,
less film bro version of Quentin Tarantino.
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, the better version. Yeah, aka the better version. Yeah, that's really all to say there. Best animated film went to Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Yay!
Yay!
It's eligible for animated feature at the Oscars. I don't know if that's going to happen. I still think people don't associate it as an animated movie, but I would love to see it get nominated. It's a great movie.
The Irishman should have been nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Yeah, I mean most of the Marvel movies should be.
Yeah,
They're pretty animated.
it's
All that
fair.
CG. Yep. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, I think this is another case of them throwing their weight behind a movie. Like I think them giving it the win here is kind of them saying like Academy, consider this as an animated film. Um,
it's
and
also
it's a great movie.
correct. Out of what I've seen, I haven't seen Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but it is the best animated movie of the year. Marcel
Yeah, it
is also
is.
one
Yeah.
of the top 10 best movies of the year. It is a beautiful movie. It brought me to tears. It's an existential masterpiece, and everybody should see it.
Yeah, it was. It also was nominated at Best Editing somewhere recently, and that's a great shout out for that film because it could just be like meandering, but it's very well done.
Yeah.
Incredible movie. Watch Marcel the Show
I mean,
with
Isabella
shoes on.
Rossellini should get a Best
Supporting
Supporting
actress.
Actress. She's
She should
brilliant.
win.
Yeah, she's great. It's a great movie. It's one of A24's
Bonnie.
best.
Yeah, it's
And
really
quite a
good.
year.
Yeah, yeah. Not in the animated. I haven't seen Pinocchio yet, but animated movies have been disappointing this year overall. But Good year
Pinocchio's
for
quite
film.
good. If Pinocchio's probably going to win, and I will be very happy with that. I think it's a really profound, bold film. I think Guillermo does a great job with it. But I would also, yeah, let's put it this way: that and Marcel are both worthy. And Puss in Boots, I've heard good things, so I think it's not going to be
Yeah, it
one of
looks
those
good.
years. It'll actually be a great year because Disney's kind of
They've
shot
just got
themselves
Turning
in the
Red,
foot. So yeah, which
which
Turning
is
Red
good.
is also very good, but I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna. I think the Disney Plus of it all will take it out as far as it's just not.
released in March. Yeah.
Yeah, it's early. So you know, it's unfortunate because it's a great movie, but yeah, it's actually I think it's gonna be one of the better best animated feature lineups in years past if Marcel gets it.
Yes, big if, big if.
Yeah.
Um, Best nonfiction film went to All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, which is nice to see. It hasn't been doing amazing so far this season after being proclaimed the front runner during the festivals. But it's so yeah, it's nice to see it get a win here. I think it'll probably still get nominated, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
International film, interesting choice. They went with EO, the donkey perspective movie. I'm looking forward to seeing this after
That's a
Cow.
critic's pick for you.
Yep, yep. And it's directed by I forget his name, but he starred in the first Avengers movie. So good for him.
Starred is a bit of
He did. He was a
he had
star.
one scene. It was a good
He was a
scene when he
star.
interrogates Black Widow, but I wouldn't say he
Mhm.
starred in the Avengers.
He was on the marquee like right after Chris Hemsworth. It
Robert
was
Downey
his name.
Jr., Chris Hemsworth, the director of EO.
Yep, exactly. Draws a big crowd. Best cinematography went to Claudio Miranda for Top Gun Maverick. Interesting choice. I think this is win competitive in cinematography, I'd say.
This or Avatar? I'm calling it now. It's one
Yeah,
of
I
those
would
two.
say Avatar right now, but I think
I
this would be my
think
number two.
we have to see it. I mean, we're going to talk about it as far as the reactions, but I wonder if I feel like visual effects because look at the year of Ford v Ferrari in 1917. Theoretically, both those movies could have swept all their categories, especially 1917 because that was like probably the runner up for Best Picture.
Mhm.
At least that was what people were the conjecture was.
Yeah,
But you saw that like sound, I believe, editing and visual effects went to and
Ford
cinematography,
before.
of course, went to 1917, and then film editing and
Oh
sound
yes,
mixing
film
went to
editing. Yeah,
Ford v Ferrari. So you saw that they evened it up. So I think cinematography and maybe film editing will go Top Gun, and then visual effects and sound, maybe production design could go Avatar. I think we're not going to see a Dune situation where one sweeps. I think because
no,
future spoiler alert, I think both are getting best picture contention. So I think that Avatar and Top Gun will kind of split the techs with maybe Babylon, maybe Black Panther getting one category here and there.
yeah, agreed. And then lastly, best first feature went to Aftersun, which is going to sweep all the first feature awards this whole season, rightfully so. Great movie.
Who else has a first feature? Like when it comes to the DGA, predicting the DGA.
Um,
I can look it up while you prep our next one.
yeah. Our next category is another critics group, the Atlanta Film Critics Circle, who did an interesting approach. They gave their top 10 films, which number one, their winner, was Everything Ever All at Once. Then behind, two Fablemans, three Banshees of Inisherin, four Tar, five RRR, six Top Gun Maverick, seven Decision to Leave, eight Women Talking, nine Glass Onion, and 10 Nope. Thank God for Nope.
Yeah. So just to see women talking, they saw it. It's at the bottom of their list. It's here,
It's
but
there.
yeah, for that type of movie, that needs to be higher on the list, I think, before we hit the industry voting.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. But nice list. I can't really think of right now anything that's super missing. A lot of critic favorites here. RR, I think, is going to be a critic favorite. Same with Top Gun, Glass Onion. Yeah, it's a good list. I'm glad to see Nope getting it and Everything Ever All at Once. I mean, it was expected to probably win at least one critics group, and it did here. So yeah, good list of top 10 films there. Best director is interesting. Went to the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And if you look at this critics group's previous nominees in Best Director, it's interesting because the past, I think, 5 years, it went to Jane Campion, Chloe Zhao, Bong Joon-ho, Alfonso Cuarón, and Christopher Nolan, all of whom got nominated at the Oscars, 4 of whom won at the Oscars.
Christopher
So
Nolan should have won, in my opinion. I love Dunkirk.
Jordan Peele. But
Jordan
yeah,
Peele, I would have given script and Best Picture.
maybe.
I try to be diplomatic, as
Yeah,
you'll see
yeah.
when we do our own
Yes, that's coming
our
up
own
soon.
choices, which is coming up. I think Jack has to see
Soonish.
Babylon. I've seen
I need to see
Babylon.
Babylon, Avatar. I think we need to see women talking before we do
I
that.
would say Avatar and Women Talking, and maybe I Want to Dance with Somebody for Naomi Aki. So
Yeah,
around New Year's, you'll see.
we're close. We're close. Yeah,
We're close, but it's
we're
going to be
getting
fun.
there. But this does make me think maybe we've been underestimating the Daniels, them being the big snub. Because I mean, if you look at, I mean, it's just a critics group, but all of their 5 previous winners here got nominated.
I've been telling you, I've been saying Everything Everywhere. It could be that
You
movie
do,
that on
do you have the
Oscar
Daniels in though?
I have the Daniels in, but I've been saying this entire season that I could see a world where Everything Everywhere wins Best Picture, and I could see a world where it misses out on a lot of categories because it's just about whether it clicks with the overall majority. And I worry that movie's going to be too weird and people are going to turn it off and they're not going to get their love. I am really pulling for them. And I think the fact that they do have some support, the Gotham and Indie Spirit love that they've already received is good. But I worry. I still worry that they could falter at the last minute, especially with James Cameron on the rise.
Yeah, I don't have them getting in right now, but they've been rising. They've been rising. And in the other acting categories, 3 of them we don't really need to touch on. Lead actor went to Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, lead actress Cate Blanchett for Tar, and supporting actor Ke Huy Quan for Everything and Everywhere All at Once, all of which we kind of just talked about with the New York Film Critics Circle. The acting category of note would be supporting actress, which went to Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion. I'm going to bring up their previous nominees in this category once again. If I just pull it up, it's the previous nominees: Kirsten Dunst, Maria Bakalova, Laura Dern, Emma Stone, and Laurie Metcalf, all of which went on to be nominated at the Oscars. So, it's possible. I think she's Netflix. If Netflix is going to get an acting nomination, she is their best shot, I think.
Very
It's
possible.
been a while since they haven't gotten an acting nomination, which is interesting. But yeah. Do you think she could get in? Yes, no?
I mean, listen, anybody can get in. It's all about, whether they can sustain themselves. It's possible. I mean, who do you have? Do you have her getting in your 5 right now?
At the Oscars, no.
Yeah. Who's
the movie needs to get into picture.
Who's your 5?
Who's my number 5?
No, who's your 5 contenders?
Claire Foy, Carey Mulligan, which I'm not super confident in still. Hong Chow, which I'm not super confident in still.
Come to the dark side.
Nina Haas. Oh, the Angela Bassett side. Nina Haas, and who am I forgetting? There's someone I'm forgetting. Carrie Condon, Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I have similar people. Bassett I have in there, Jamie Lee Curtis I have in there. So, that only leaves so many people. So
yeah.
We'll see.
It's definitely possible.
Let's see if the movie hits.
Yeah, I think it could get a SAG Ensemble nomination as well. It won Ensemble here at the AFCC. And other thing of note, the Top Gun Maverick also won cinematography here, so it's looking pretty strong. The Batman won score, which is nice, and Austin Butler won Best Breakthrough Performer, which I'm not sure if that's a breakthrough. He's been in the industry for a while. I mean, did you see him in Sharpay's Big Adventure?
Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure.
Fabulous Adventure. Sorry, it's been a while. It's been a while since I watched it, but he was in it. That was his true breakthrough. But
He's good at that movie too.
He was, yeah. He's good in everything.
Ashley Tisdale, Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible. 10 years later.
Supporting actress is just up in the air. They could just
put category fraud.
yeah. Yeah, that's it for the critics groups this week. I'm sure we'll have, I mean, we got NBR as the time of recording. Their winners come out in a couple of days. Um, I think the satellite awards are tomorrow. So there's some critic awards we'll talk about next week as well. It's going to be a weekly thing going forward. Um, yeah. Speaking of which, Avatar: The Way of Water, one of the last movies that we've had to get reactions and reviews and screened for everyone. It has just been screened tonight to the critics, and the reviews are pretty damn positive, if I do say so myself. Some of them, I mean, pretty much all of them are positive. Even people who didn't like the first movie seem to like this one more. I can read just a few of them. Let's see. So first one, David Alreich, I always mispronounce his last name. Avatar: The Way of Water. He says, LOL, imagine being dumb enough to bet against James Cameron, or teen alien Sigourney Weaver, or giant whales subtitled in papyrus. Light years better than the first and easily one of the best theatrical experiences in ages. Streaming found dead in a ditch. There's more. I mean, the consensus, some people like, the consensus is it's a visual, like, incredible, better than the first movie visual wise, which makes sense because the technology should have increased and gotten better. It's awe-inspiring. The story, most people seem to think that you're more invested in this movie's story than in the first one. It seems like the kids are the standout. It seems like it's more their story than the adults. But yeah, very positive all around, and I'm very tempted to now put the movie in picture. It is my number 11 as of right now, but maybe Anthony is about to sway me.
Yeah, you bet I am, because this is the thing. I think we talked about this last week. This is such a huge gamble. I would argue one of the biggest gambles of like the past 20 years, give or take.
I mean, it's a sequel to the highest grossing movie ever, though.
Yes, but mind you, that is a highest grossing movie that is 13 years old. There is no proof that there is actual interest in doing this again. And the amount they are betting, the third one's already filmed. The fourth one is partially filmed. The fifth one is scripted. This is Lord of the Rings plus Dune. I think there's really it's incredible what this movie is doing. And the thing that this movie is going to have up its sleeve, more so than I think any other movie, even Top Gun, is true awe in how it got made. I really think this could be what Mad Max Fury Road was, where just people are in awe of it. It has a strong environmental message as far as what we're seeing in these tweets. I think the fact that people are connecting with it emotionally, they're saying it's maybe his most emotional film to date. And I do think, say what you will, people love James Cameron. I think people, maybe even more than love, they respect him. And I think they're going to respect that he navigated the Disney-Fox merger and he's able to deliver this movie. I think people are going to want to be immersed. We're in a very low box office realm right now. I think it's going to blow up over this holiday season. And I think, yeah. So I always said that number 10 slot.
What did you kick out?
Blockbuster. It's going to be Black Panther or Avatar. And I'm feeling good about Avatar. Now, yes, I'm toying with a couple movies. I'm going to put Pinocchio in there at number 10, but Avatar's my number 9. Actually, I'm feeling good about this, and I think I put it up higher actually after these.
If I were to kick one in my 10 out right now, it would be She Said, which I'm sadly losing faith in by the days. I'm holding on.
Did you?
I'm holding on because I really like the movie, but I think Universal will just continue to push Fabelmans even more. So yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I actually have Avatar. I put it at number 6. I feel really strongly about it. I think it's going to be a movie that I think no matter who you are, you're just going to be so immersed and so just blown away by what he was able to achieve. And I think it does help. I always said the worst thing that can happen to Avatar is if people talk about it in inferior terms, if they think it's lesser than the original, and the fact that nobody I've seen has said the first one.
Nobody's saying it's worse. Yeah.
So that's good. I think that's very good.
At the very least on the same level as the first one. Most people saying it's better. Yeah, the main takeaway is the visuals and the technology are like mind-blowingly good. Which, I mean, the techs guilds, the craft guilds make up a big voting body, not the biggest voting body. I think the actors will have to like it for it to get in there. Actors will probably like it though. I mean, dude got in last year.
Yeah, actors, I think will, because this is what we talked about earlier. I think Sigourney Weaver being able to play a 14-year-old, I think is going to be, I feel, will be very much embraced because it's allowing this titan, this wonderful talent, who in a traditional Hollywood blockbuster would have been aged out. She's able to return and play a character with this technology that is now eternally youthful. I think I could see the actors getting behind, because we talk about the technology, motion capture, The Irishman, Star Wars with bringing back dead people, the actors having an issue with technology, but I think they could embrace what this technology is representing, because it's allowing true colorblind casting. Anybody could be anyone. And I think that's very appealing to actors.
Yeah, yeah. I think I might kick out She Said. I'm very much tempted to do it because these
One of the
reactions are
biggest movies
very
versus one of the
positive.
smallest movies.
Yeah, yeah. I think Avatar has probably outsold She Said's box office within like the first 2 minutes of tickets being on sale. So
Unfortunately.
yeah,
Um,
I'm probably gonna do that.
yeah.
That's probably gonna happen. I'm probably gonna kick out She Said, which is sad, but it'll probably happen. I think it'll get picture, it'll win VFX, it'll get production design, it'll get sound, it'll get what else will it get? Cinematography.
Maybe
Um
score. We'll see.
maybe
Maybe
score.
song.
The score in the trailer was really good, but I haven't heard much shout outs of the score and the reactions. I did hear the Weekend song isn't that good, so I
Here's
personally
the
don't have that in
question.
there.
Here's the question.
What is it?
James Cameron, best director.
That is the big question. We'll talk about that with the Globes. Let's save it for the Globes. I think he might get in at the Globes, but he's risen in my rankings. I'll say that much. Where he ranks will be left to be seen, but he's definitely risen in my rankings. But yeah, any other Avatar: The Way of Water thoughts?
Yeah, I'm very positive, and I listen. I'm always
Next
positive.
week.
I feel, I'm eternally positive, but what I was seeing, because you got to remember, we've lived in a world, almost my entire life, or at least half my life, where everybody's like, who cares about Avatar? Nobody cares. Nobody. What's the name of the characters? Who's Neytiri?
Jake Sully, Neytiri,
Everybody was so apathetic
Stephen
about the
Lang.
idea of these movies. Like, people joked about the fact that he was spending now the rest of his life on these movies, and now that people are seeing it, they're being blown away in ways that I think really does make a Best Picture contender.
Do you think
yeah.
one gets into picture? Two, both of us now are probably thinking this gets into picture. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I'm probably going to do it. Is this like there's a big gap between one and two to the point where two will it's like another situation of like, wow, this is amazing and awe-inspiring and my mind is blown. Will three happen? Will it be Lord of the Rings thing, or will it be we just saw this 2 years ago?
Well, there's three, and then four, and then
Yeah,
five,
exactly.
and then maybe six and
Is
seven.
this just one and two? Is this going to be a franchise
I mean,
thing?
I don't know. It depends, I think, on the quality of the movies going forward.
Well,
All we
yes,
can speak
yes.
on is the quality of two, and the quality of two seems to be very good. I think what's the good thing about this is that it's the distance between the original means that people like the thing with, let's look at Star Wars. The first Star Wars gets nominated for Best Picture in 1978, and then Empire Strikes Back comes out. Now, some people would call that the superior movie, but I think because of how closely it was to the original, I don't think people were ready to jump ship off of their love for the first one to don this other one the same praise,
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, some people just didn't like it when it came out. Like, I think got like mixed reviews when it came out. Like, the
It
New
was
York
very
Times
much the Last
quote
Jedi of the
was
time.
like, "It's a nice movie." Like, that was their praise for Empire at the time. So, but I think because it's been 13 years since Avatar, this almost takes on a Top Gun Maverick type of feel, where like it's gone away
Yeah.
and now it's coming back, and
I'm
now
just
it's
curious about the
better than ever.
third. We'll have
So
to see for the third.
yeah, I do wonder going forward, but it could just be like this sort of long, like Lord of the Rings, just you always nominated. It's especially in the year of 10, you just always put it in there. Because if he keeps
Yeah.
doing innovative stuff, that's the question really, is because two could be representative of what all the sequels are going to be, and they're just going to have
Yeah.
to prove themselves. This too could be starting its own kind of sub franchise in a way, and so then it takes on a Black Panther scenario where the first one is lauded, and then the sequels are just like, oh, it's more of what we loved.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see.
We shall see. Probably going to get the picture. We'll see. We'll see. Speaking of reviews and reactions, another film got reviews and reactions. Emancipation, Will Smith's upcoming Apple TV movie, got very mixed reactions, some very positive. I remember seeing Scott Mans tweeting Best Picture, Director, and Actor worthy. He seemed to have very much liked the movie. Mixed reviews overall. People saying it's probably one of Antoine Fuqua's better movies, and that the action aspects may have taken away from the story aspects. Everyone seems to think Will Smith is pretty good in it. This doesn't really change anything prediction-wise for me because I didn't really think this was going to be a big contender. I think cinematography is its really only shot at the Oscars. But what do you think?
I think this is a Globes player and maybe SAG, and that's it.
Yeah. When we will see with those nominees very soon. We'll get into Globes in a second. But yeah, nothing too. I'm looking forward to watching it. I think it comes out next week, along with Pinocchio. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and seeing how I feel about it. Okay, next up, Sight and Sound. We can quickly touch on that. They released their top one every decade. They release their top 100 films, voted on by both critics and filmmakers alike. So the last time they did this was 2012, and now it's 2022. They had some surprising stuff in there. I overall liked most of their choices. I'm not huge.
One of their better lists of recent.
Yeah. I like having more recent movies on there. I know that hurts some people's feelings, but I think it's okay. I think 3 years, the quality of movie like A Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which in particular for some reason got a bashing for being on that list. I think 3 years and
about women, and it's made by a woman.
The number one movie was directed by a woman, which also got a significant bashing. But yeah,
on HBO Max, go watch Sean Dielman.
Yes, I will be watching it at some point. But yeah, a pretty good list overall. I think every decade is probably going to spark opinions. I mean, poor people. I feel like poor Ty West. Hopefully, he's not on the internet because people are just trashing on certain people's top tens, and his top 10 was good.
I swear to God,
it's subjective.
It's not doing any harm. He's sharing what he loves. I don't.
His top. It's not like his top 10 was like, I don't know, like the Emoji movie was in there or something. I mean, it's Jaws. It's Godfather. I mean, it's stuff
even if it was, it doesn't matter. He likes what. Hugh Laurie, when he was promoting Tomorrowland, went on the Graham Norton show, and he talked about going to Comic-Con and seeing the sheer lunacy of the fans dressed up and like just unabashedly loving what they love. And he found it so comforting because he says that apathy is the greatest villain of them all. So to see people care so much about something was comforting. Ty West and all these filmmakers love movies. So these are the movies they love, and I don't think we should critique what they love as long as they're not promoting hate. As long as like Birth of the Nation is not on there from 1925, I think we're fine. And so he picked, like, I've seen that list of movies. They're seminal classics for a reason. So I don't know. I don't like when people critique people's loves because they love them for a reason that sometimes, like, I remember coming out of Force Awakens and my friends critiquing the movie and then asking, how can I defend this? And I was like, it's a feeling. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I can talk about the movie all I want, but some movies, especially your favorites, it's a feeling. To quote Finn from The Rise of Skywalker, it's a feeling. Yeah. So yeah. Did you do your own list on your Twitter?
I didn't know, just because I probably would be bashed for my list. I'll admit I haven't seen. I'm still catching up on some classics, so I'm not confident enough to give my. You did your top 10, right?
I did mine, which people have. We talked about this during the whole Spider-Man fiasco of last year, as far as the delineation between best and favorite. I looked at it as like 10 movies I would want to preserve as being representative of the cinematic expression. So you can go to Twitter and find it at Anthony_post.
Leave it a mystery.
To watch all those movies. I put some thought into my cross section of films.
I would consider putting Portrait of a Lady on Fire on mine. So all those people not liking that choice. It's worthy of its position, as are Get Out and Parasite and the other recent movies that made it on. But yeah, that was a fun day on Twitter, discussion wise, made for some fun discussion, as always, the subjectivity of film. But yeah,
SS Rajamouli put Kung Fu Panda. You know what I would have loved?
inspired choice.
I would have loved if he put Kung Fu Panda 2 also on his list,
That's
just to
the
see.
better one, honestly. 2 is
it
better
is the
than
best
1.
one in the trilogy. See, we
Yeah.
agree on the important things.
Yeah, exactly.
Gary
Exactly.
Oldman. He terrified me when I was 9 years old.
As that peacock. Oh my, I forget that that's him. Transformative voiceover
He should have won the
performance.
Oscar for that.
Supporting actor. Yeah. Yep. Jack Black should have won for lead actor.
Yeah.
But the Academy just they're not with the times.
This bit has gone on too long. Let's go into
it has, yeah. Do you have any NBR winner predictions before we get into the Golden Globes? NBR releases their winners this upcoming Thursday. Any thoughts? I think
they usually go out of
Fableman's.
left field. I feel like they're an organization that surprises.
They make some interesting choices. I forget. Do you remember what they did last year?
I am looking up now.
I know they did The Irishman. I remember them doing that.
So I believe they do a top 10, but only the first one is listed as the winner.
Okay.
And then I believe, right? Do they pick
last year they did Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, Licorice Pizza.
They do their top 10, but
the Five Bloods was their 2020 winner.
That's a good pick.
I believe it's a very good pick. Let's see.
Green Book.
The Irishman was in there. Green Book won. So this was where Green Book kind of started its trajectory. So that's important to note. The Post won.
Manchester by the Sea. Mad Max Fury Road.
They're an interesting group as far as what they end up. How indicative they are.
None of those were picture winners. So whatever you think is winning picture. Oh my God, it was. Yeah, I forgot. I blocked that out of my mind.
The Men in Black out of my mind.
No, I do that. I don't recognize that.
So it's interesting. I as far as what they seem to go for, they seem to go for Netflix movies. They did 2 years in a row with The Irishman and The Five Bloods.
They're not going to do that this year.
I could see a world where Top Gun Maverick wins their list.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be like Mad Max Fury Road, I guess.
Yeah. Or Tar. Tar could. They seem to go back and forth with bigger crowd pleasers and the indies. So we'll see.
Who knows? Maybe it's Banshees of Inisherin. I'll say that. Random. Sure. It's this critics groups are I get predicting the Oscars and other groups that are easier to predict, but critics, especially when they're voted by committee, you just have to let it happen.
If we learned anything you can't predict BAFTA last year, it's that trying to predict.
Well, you can predict those.
No, but trying to pick
those are more fun.
Voting is ridiculous.
Yeah, there's no pattern to watch. Yeah. But yeah, that's really it for the topics. Let's go into our main topic, which is the Golden Globe predictions. Woo! The Globes are back and they're full force this year, stronger than ever. No, who knows? We'll see. I don't think they have a host yet. I know they asked Ricky Gervais and he said no, as expected. Who would want to be the host to the Golden Globes?
Snoop Dogg. They need to bring Snoop Dogg back.
I wouldn't mind that. Have him mispronounce every movie and performer.
Oh my God! If Ben for those who don't know, he announced the nominations. I think for when was it? Was it 20?
It was last year because it was Ben Affleck for The Tender Bar.
Ben Affleck. There was something else too. I'm going to try and remember it as you.
He said Denis Villeneuve. Very interestingly, I think it was Dennis Villeneuve or something.
Dennis Villeneuve. Maybe it was that. There was something. He
mispronounced many things. Oh, he mispronounced a movie. And he said "Tick Tick Boom." Very funny. I remember that. He was like "Tick Tick Boom." Is how he pronounced that.
I just remember this the watching the video live and them just going from this nice European woman going from, and now we would like to announce the categories, Snoop Dogg. It was just
the entertaining
thing in the world.
I don't think he would host though.
It depends on how much weed you grant him.
Yeah, true. But they're back in their full force, and we're here to give our predictions for what they'll nominate, because their nominations come out in about a week. So I'll have to see how that goes. But getting started, drama. I guess I can start off with drama. 5 picks here. In no particular order, we can talk about potential winners once the nominations come out. Fabelmans, Top Gun Maverick, Elvis, which I believe is being campaigned in drama, should be. Tar, and Avatar 2. Avatar: The Way of Water. Tempted to say Women Talking there. I'm not sure if both Tar and Women Talking can get in though. What do you have?
Just so we're very clear, the Golden Globes are usually very predictive. I'm looking over last year. The only things they missed was Troy Kotzer. It was just Coda. They did not fall head over heels for Coda the way the Oscars did. But Will Smith won, and Jessica Chastain did not win. But Will Smith won, Ariana DeBose won, Jane Campion won, Kenneth Branagh won,
Nicole
Hans Zimmer won, No Time to Die won, Encanto won, Drive My Car won. So just to keep in mind, they are a good bellwether for
not
the
as much in the acting categories, but in the other ones,
Well, so the other thing to remember is that Avatar won Best Picture Motion Picture Drama.
They loved Avatar.
And James Cameron won Best Director. So I don't know if they've seen Avatar: The Way of Water, but I think it's getting nominated alongside The Fabelmans, Top Gun Maverick, Elvis, and Tar.
Okay, so we've got the same top 5. I'm tempted to put Women Talking in there, but we'll see. I don't even will they have seen it? They'll probably have seen it, I would think.
They saw All the Money in the World before that movie existed, so
yeah, that's true. That's very true. I would have that as my number 6. I also think The Women King is very possible. And She Said has a slight chance of possibility. I
think The Women King would have benefited in a year when there weren't already so many blockbusters. I feel like that.
It would have.
You have Top Gun, you have Avatar now, Everything Everywhere, Black Panther's still in play. It's just there's so many.
I think Woman King is more in play than Black Panther, personally.
I mean,
for picture at least.
For picture, possibly, but I just think Black Panther, we're talking
not as much in the text.
Win contention for some categories, like Best Original Song, potentially. Best Costume Design, I think, still in play. Best, so it's hard, I think, for the Woman King, which is on the bubble, if that. When Black Panther, we actually are I think Gold Derby still has it winning production design, which even I, Black Panther stan, don't have it.
That's bold.
There. So I just think that Woman King, it's I don't know. I feel like last year, I think it maybe would have been had a better shot than this year.
Yeah, I agree. Best comedy or musical. Why don't you start us off here?
Okay. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's our winner.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
Yep.
Babylon. Yep. Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. And I'm throwing in The Menu.
I was tempted to do that. I was between The Menu or Triangle of Sadness. I went Triangle of Sadness.
A little more palatable.
Yeah, it is. That's true. And I have spoiler. I have The Menu. Yeah, I'll put The Menu at number 5 actually, because I had it getting
bigger stars, which the Golden Globes love.
Yeah, I'll agree. The Menu. Poor Triangle of Sadness, because they're not big on foreign films there. I remember they did Minari dirty.
Why would you think that, given that they're the Hollywood
foreign press?
Yeah, I mean, I would love for Triangle to get in here out of the 3 Eat the Rich movies. As far as The Menu and Triangle of Sadness and Glass Onion, it's my favorite. I think The Menu is actually my least favorite of those 3, but
they're all good.
They're all good, but so it's But I think as far as the Golden Globes, I think The Menu is a nice solid. It actually reminds me of the original Knives Out. Is this little indie that actually performed well at the box office, has some big stars, a large ensemble cast, and has a somewhat political message that the Golden Globes can get behind and respect. So yeah, I'm going The Menu.
I agree. So we agree so far. No differences in our list so far. Interesting. Best Director. I think we'll probably have disagreements here, because this category, the only lock is Steven Spielberg across the board, and those other 4.
I agree.
Who knows? But yeah, Steven Spielberg would be my number 1. Then I'll say Sarah Polley for Women Talking. I'll
Okay.
say James Cameron for Avatar: The Way of Water. I'll say the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think they will go for that movie. And I'll say Baz Luhrmann for Elvis. Do you have that
Yeah.
as well? They're gonna
I
love
don't have the same
Elvis.
five, but I have Baz Luhrmann,
Mhm.
which I think could happen.
At the Oscars, it's possible.
I
He would be
think
in my top 10.
let's see what happens.
If
I
he gets
think
nominated here, it's like very much like,
if he gets this NDGA, then I will put him in my Oscars.
yeah.
Um, I have Spielberg, I have Baz Luhrmann, I have James Cameron, I have Todd Field, and
Mm,
I'm throwing in Damien. You know, we got to remember he was the Golden Globe baby boy, most awarded film in the history of their organization,
mm,
La La Land. And having seen it, I can't review it, but it is quite the directorial achievement.
yes,
And
it looked like it.
if the movie, if he's ingratiated himself with this movie, I could see him getting in. You know, he could miss. I think he missed for First Man, of course. So
Hmm.
it's possible.
This will have
But
more mixed reviews than First Man, I think.
I think it helps that the embargo
It's
will
about
be
Hollywood.
after they do
Yeah.
their nominations. Um,
The Golden
so
Globes nominated music as well, so they don't care about reviews.
yeah, so it's a question. I do wonder because this is the thing. It's so anti-Hollywood. The question is, A, do people get that it's anti-Hollywood? I think it's pretty clear, but I do wonder some people whether
People didn't know what Nope was about, so
exactly. You know, you just wonder if people will connect the dots. And I just wonder with the Hollywood Foreign Press, you know, because they're somewhat attached or somewhat detached. You know, I wonder what that means. But I think given that he's a like, if I'm considering him over Sarah Polly or the Daniels, like because he's such a well-known name, I think that helps him. So I'm gonna go for Babylon, and also because if I was picking this category, I would give him the win. So I'm
oh wow.
gonna put some
You haven't
luck
seen
behind it.
Avatar: The Way of Water yet.
I've not. And who knows? What if James Cameron
Who
won? That'd be
knows?
incredible.
Jim. Yeah, I mean, who knows with the Globes? They have some wacky winners sometimes. I just do think the past 2 years they've done better than the Academy in terms of women directors. They've nominated two female directors the past 2 years. So I do think they're trying to make up lost ground because they, I think before that were even worse with female directors in the Academy. So I think they're going to at least have Sarah Polly in here. I would also, my number 6 is Gina Prince Bythewood for The Woman King
He
because
could.
the past few years, that's a very directed movie, very spectacle
It,
driven, but
it just comes to the point that like I can't put in these women director. I mean, maybe they think that way. Maybe they're just going to put in them because they're
I
women.
think
I
they
don't
may.
want to think that because I think they should get in there because they deserve it. And if they
Yeah.
did, I've seen The Woman King. I haven't seen Women Talking, but I'm going to genuinely say that if they got in, they would deserve the nomination.
Yeah.
Um, but I just worry like I have The Woman King getting one nomination, and it's on the bubble. Women Talking, I think I have it getting like one nomination. Like I don't know if they're not picture contenders and they're really not showing up anywhere else. I don't think they're just going to pop up and like they think Regina King getting in for One Night in Miami. You had the actors getting in there. You know, even though I think it
Hmm.
missed out. Did it miss out on picture? I think it did.
It did.
So like it missed out on picture, but the actors got in there, the song got in there. So like it had a showing in other categories, and those were places that people were saying were win competitive.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't have her in there. I'd just say look out for her.
yeah,
I'd
but even
also look
Sarah
out.
Polly, like I just
Yeah.
we as we're talking, women talking, it's I don't it's still it's hard because it's really like one of the few movies we haven't
It's a
seen.
mystery. Yeah.
So it's but I don't know. I could see a world where she gets in, but I also
I think she
I'm
will.
gonna back Damien. I'm gonna back Damien.
I could also see that. Yeah. I mean, director is really there's one lock and then there's just a bunch of possibilities. Endless possibilities. But yeah. So we disagree on that. We didn't fully agree there. Let's see. Do we fully agree on best actor drama? Would you like to start or would you like me to?
You go for it.
Okay. Austin Butler is winning this. We can all agree with
Woohoo!
that. Clearly. Two, I think Brendan Fraser will definitely be nominated. I do think because he's not attending, they could be like maybe want to be more inclined to give him a win to kind of like make up for it. But that would I don't
No.
it's a no-win scenario with them and Brendan Fraser. They should I don't know what they should do. But yeah. Um he'll be nominated. Three, Tom Cruise. It's just
Yep.
gonna happen. Four, I guess
Say
Hugh
it.
Jackman
Say
from
it.
The
Yep.
Sun.
Good.
He's a star. He's gonna be in Deadpool 3 or whatever,
If Kate Blanchett can get nominated for
Or
Where'd You Go,
where, yeah,
Bernadette, Hugh Jackman can get nominated for The
he's a
Sun.
star.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Golden Globes are more they what's the word? They're more receiving of younger performances than the Academy is, as we've seen with like people like Roman Griffin Davis, et cetera, et cetera. So I have Gabriel LaBelle getting
Favorite
in for The
nomination?
Fablemans.
I would love if Gabriel LaBelle got in there. But I worry that he's getting overlooked, even though he's the heart. He is the driving force
He's
of that
yeah,
movie. I would say he's the driving force of the movie. Michelle Williams is the heart. Paul Dano is the soul. Is how I would break
mm,
that up.
yeah,
So we agree on the top four. I'd put Will Smith in because I think movie star, and I think they're like
yeah.
I do think they're going to because that also helps them with their race allegations that they're anti they're anti
Well, they haven't
white.
had any black men, so
Um,
yeah.
and I could see them wanting to send the message that we want to welcome Will Smith and
Would
that
he
it's okay.
attend?
I think he might because let's
Part
put it
of the
this way:
comeback narrative?
if he gets in as far as the nomination, then I think he's going to want to prove that he's grown, so that maybe he can.
It's an interesting,
Because
yeah.
I do think he like wants an Oscar nomination. So,
I
and I
mean,
think
yeah,
in a perfect world, he wants them to revoke the 10-year ban. So I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to go back. Maybe he's like, he's, that embarrassed. So I don't, it's interesting, but I think this category, it's just going to be a celebration of the 90s, man. And we're going to get Brendan
yeah.
Fraser, we're going to get Tom Cruise, and we're going to Will Smith, and we're going to get Austin Butler, who wasn't he
He
born
was
in the
born
90s?
in the 90s. He was born in the 90s. Yeah, yeah. It was his birth. Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. I could see that. Very it's an interesting scenario, I think, all around. I would also say look out for Bill Nighy for living. I think they
Yeah,
could end up going for
he's
that.
your other. It's Smith, LaBelle, or Nye, and I think for the or Calva is very good. I could see Calva getting in.
Well, he would
Um,
be in comedy
oh, he's
musicals.
in comedy musical, but as far as like those are the other contenders too for the Oscar. I don't think Hugh Jackman is an Oscar contender. Um,
I think he's that category's so up in the air. I think he could get in at the Oscars. I think he's got a
I'm
better
not gonna
shot here
watch it.
for
Nobody's
sure.
gonna watch The Sun.
Yeah, that's true. But the category is just so barren. Who
The Golden
knows?
Globes aren't gonna watch The Sun. They just see Hugh Jackman and they're gonna nominate him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Best actress drama. Um, my number one here. I think they're going to give Danielle Deadweiler the win. Personally, I think they're not.
Interesting.
I think they're going to. That's just a Globes thing. I could see them doing. I hope she's able to give a speech. I know she's currently filming a project, which is why she couldn't attend the Gotham Awards and give a speech. But once that project is done and she fully campaigns, I think that would be helpful. Then I got Blanchett. Then I got Michelle Williams. Then I got Viola Davis. And then number five, I was tempted to say it's between Naomi Ackie or Jennifer Lawrence. I said Jennifer Lawrence. She's a star.
Yay! We have the same five.
I don't know if they'll have seen I Want to Dance with Somebody.
That was my
Is
question,
it
but at
being
the same
screened?
time, I could be a world where they nominated and we're like, how that movie doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
I
they,
just
like you said, with all the money in the world. So,
yeah, and The Greatest Showman that year too. They
and
saw
that,
that
yeah.
movie. Update just in our Oscar predictions, I've taken Naomi Ackie out because in a world where now
Mm.
Austin Butler is winning, I think that they're going to put all like that'll take up all the energy in the room as
That's
far
the
as
musical biopic.
the
Yeah.
musical biopic.
Did you
And
put
Daniel
Deadweiler
Deadweiler
back in?
winning Gotham. Deadweiler winning Gotham meant that she's she's getting some recognition as she should. It's a beautiful, heartbreaking performance. We have the same five, but I have Michelle Williams leading. So,
Oh,
but I
really?
could see a world where Daniel Deadweiler. You make a convincing argument, but I'm going to stick by Miss Williams.
Possible. It's possible. Let's see. What is next? Actor comedy. This is an interesting one. I have Colin Farrell. I've
Mm-hmm.
got Daniel Craig. I've got
Yep.
Adam Sandler, who gave an
Yep.
incredible speech. Diego Calva
Yep.
and Ray Fiennes.
I had George Clooney, but I'm going to
If
switch
that's
to Ray Fiennes.
in, yeah, if that's in picture, that's why I decided at that moment to switch menu in there because I had Ray Fiennes here and I didn't have Triangle of Sadness getting anything else. So it made sense to me. So you have the same five?
I do. Why won't it let me add? There we go.
I
Ray
would, I would,
Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes. It's a good
Though I
performance.
heard some good things about A Man Called Otto.
I would
So
also look out for that,
I'd look
but he
out
will
for that.
probably get nominated elsewhere here. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, it is true. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
And maybe Adam Driver for White Noise, which is qualifies under musical or comedy. Now on to Best Actress, comedy or musical, where I've got some questions here in terms of who's going to end up where. Really just regarding one person. So I've got Michelle Yeoh winning, especially after Babylon didn't do so hot. I think Margot Robbie would be a clear
She
number
is
two.
incredible, though. I
Oh,
wouldn't
I'm
count
sure.
her out
Yeah,
for a win. She's very good in the movie.
yeah, it
Uh,
looked very, very good from the trailers.
yeah,
But those are your
but
clear top two.
yeah.
Then I would have
Um,
Emma Thompson.
okay.
Good luck to you, Leo Grande. Then I would have Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion, which I know Gold Derby has her in supporting actress. Ana de Armas was nominated here, though, at the Golden Globes for the first one.
I don't know, but I would
I'm
argue Ana de
confused.
Armas had a bigger part. Like I would argue that Ana de Armas is the
It's
main
close.
character of Knives
She
Out, but
is.
Daniel Craig is the main character of Glass Onion.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm not super confident in that. I could because I don't have that.
Hard.
It's not possible to do at the Golden on Gold Derby to put her in there. So I do have someone else. So I've also got Julia Roberts in there, and then since I can't put her in at Gold Derby, maybe I should put Keke Palmer for Nope. But I have Leslie
I
Manville.
really want to, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I've got Leslie Manville for Miss Harris Goes to Paris if I can't put in Janelle Monáe.
My heart. I would love that, but I don't have it happening. She's my number 6.
Oh, what do you have?
She's wonderful. I have Michelle Yeoh, Margot Robbie.
Yes.
I'm going to jump to my 4 and 5 because we agree. Emma Thompson and Julia Roberts, but my number 3 is Anya Taylor-Joy for The Menu.
I could see that. I feel like Ray Fiennes is a bigger standout acting wise in the movie.
I think it's going to be the Knives Out. I think it's going to be Picture and the 2 actors.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And Anya's built up enough credibility, from The Queen's Gambit. Didn't she win for The Queen's Gambit?
Wait, Janelle Monáe is available in this category on Gold Derby. So never mind. I'm sticking with Janelle Monáe being in there. Is she available in supporting actress? Golden?
That's where I have her.
She's available in both?
Apparently.
Well, that's just rude. Pick one. Pick one. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Anya Taylor-Joy will get in there for The Menu.
Yeah, I could very much see that. Should be my number 6. But yeah.
Supporting actress then, so I can talk about Janelle Monáe, where she's actually going to get nominated.
You can talk about her there. Yeah. Maybe I should just put her in
Janelle Monáe, Carrie Condon,
double nominee.
Claire Foy, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Angela Bassett. My Oscar 5 minus Nina Hoss subbed in for Janelle Monáe.
Okay. I've got Claire Foy, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis. Do I put Janelle Monáe in here? I've also got Angela Bassett. And my last spot, I mean, it makes the most sense. I guess I'll put Janelle Monáe in here and then not in the other one.
Have you joined Angela Bassett train for just the Globes?
At the Golden Globes, yes. I have joined that train.
Okay.
I'll slowly, if she gets another place, she could get in that SAG too.
If she gets in SAG and the Globes, will you get on board?
Probably.
Okay. And
she's not for the win, for the nomination.
Yeah. I still think. Listen, I think she's a stronger contender at the SAG than the Globes, but I'm pulling for the Globes.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis is honestly going to win here, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
because I forget what it is, but she's got a relationship with the HFPA. I think she's like somehow associated with them, and they are not above letting your emotions and other outside stuff influence your voting.
Let me be honest. Nobody is going to set aside.
No, but them in particular, they're very guilty of such a thing. Emily in Paris, music,
Emily
Johnny Depp
in
movie.
Paris. It's supposed to rhyme.
Emily in Paris. Yeah. Still haven't watched that show, but yeah, I'll put Janelle Monáe.
I don't think Lily Collins has watched that show.
I don't think anyone in the HFPA watched the show. If we're being honest.
Supporting actor Ki Hu Kwan.
Yes.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yes.
Paul Dano.
Yes.
Brad Pitt,
Yes, sadly.
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm t Tom Hanks, I would have him above Brad Pitt because I do think the Globes are trying to get better. And I do think maybe they want to be like, maybe we shouldn't nominate Brad Pitt this year, considering
Um,
everything surrounding him. But he's a star also.
yeah, I mean, because this is the thing. He's always been accepted by the industry. Like for the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood season, like it never
Oh
came
no,
up.
this is like recent stuff though.
I
Like
know, but like there were rumors, especially within the industry.
there
I feel
were.
like
This is
people,
like
yeah,
legitimately being said though.
I still don't think it's gonna. I don't know. I don't
It's
think it
not being talked
stops.
about enough
When you're
as
Brad
is right
Pitt, it
now.
doesn't stop you. I would argue this is his better than the performance that won him this category
Yeah.
a
Well, I didn't
couple
like
years
that
ago.
performance much.
He's very good in this movie. And I think he'll get in. But again, that's
Don't
if Babylon actually plays. I really don't know. It's such a question mark. You're not going to know how it's going to play with organization for organization. One group might love it, the other might hate it. That's just the type of movie it is. So it'll be interesting. Who do you have as your six, just in case Pitt loses?
Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse is my number
Oh,
six.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Also, Brian Tyree Henry, I think again somewhere.
Maybe.
There's a lot of good buzz for him, especially if Jennifer Lawrence is getting in here. I think if he's going to coattail anywhere, it might be here.
That's true. It's good to know. Good to know. Glad we mentioned it. Screenplay?
Screenplay. I've got Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Banshees of Inisherin, Glass Onion. I was up in the air with that last, but I think they're going to give Women Talking a
Oh,
nomination.
I put Tar in.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to nominate Women Talking somewhere. I mean, supporting actress, screenplay. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was
listen,
very
we've talked
tempted,
about this. The eat your vegetables mentality to they're going to want to do this because it's the right thing to do. And that's again, I'm
but
not
they've
saying
been
Women Talking
nominating
isn't
like that
deserving of it,
lately.
but I don't think that the defense should be they're going to want to do it because it's it makes sense.
I know, but that's how they like have voted lately. Their nominations have a lot of it
I
been like
I
trying to
don't think
make
so. I
up
don't think like
for not
Mally.
being diverse enough in
I
the
don't think
past.
like Maggie Gyllenhaal is that. I think Maggie Gyllenhaal earned that nomination, for example, for Lost Daughter for
Oh no,
Best Director.
it was incredible direction.
Yeah,
I think Golden Globes pre recent controversies of the last couple of years, like if it was Golden Globes like 2013 or so, Maggie Gyllenhaal wouldn't have gone in there.
maybe we'll
I
see.
think
But
they've
I'm going to
changed.
stick with Tar. I think given that Tar is a picture contender, a director contender, an actor can like actress, like I don't know. I'm feeling good about that movie.
Yeah. And for animated, would you have Pinocchio, Turning Red, Marcel, Puss in Boots, and The Bad Guys?
We agree on 3 of the 5, I think.
Do you
Pinocchio, Puss
have
in Boots, Turning Red, My Father's Dragon, and Wendell and Wild. They go for the smaller stuff. I don't know
that's
because
true.
they went for nominations.
That Link movie.
They did Frozen 2, Toy Story 4, The Lion King, How to Train Your Dragon 3, and then
Oh,
Missing
they
Link.
did. Yeah,
They
I
gave
forgot
the
about
win
that
to
Lion
Missing
King.
Link. So
Yeah.
they could end up going for the bad guys. Maybe I'll end up switching. I don't know. Maybe I don't know Marcel if this group will go for Marcel.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not super confident in this, but maybe they'll go for um yeah, because they're weird. Because they like
They are
nominate
weird.
why because it seems that there's like a different HFPA voting for nominations and wins in this category. Because
It
they'll vote
does.
for the Lego movie for a nomination and then not give it the win. So like it's weird. That's like for nominations they go for the bigger movies, but for the win they go for the smaller ones. So it makes it hard to predict.
They do some wild ones too. I still remember Jodie Foster winning here for the Mauritanian, which was just
She deserved. She was great, even though Yu Jun Yoon definitely should have won the
was she
Oscar.
nominated at the Globes there?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I Mauritanian was great.
Yeah, I still need to see that. But I remember that shocking me. I think they could do some wild wins here. I think if there's going to be a wild win, I think it would probably be Jamie Lee Curtis, but I don't know how wild that would be if I think that's going to happen already. So
I think the wild win would be, I mean, for you would be Michelle Williams.
yeah, that's not going to happen.
It could happen. Isabelle Huppert beat out Natalie Portman for Jackie. Anything's possible in that category. This is where Glenn Close started her Oscar trajectory for The Wife, mind you.
That would seem much more plausible.
Really? You think The Wife, which was a much smaller movie than
No, Glenn
Best Picture
Close,
frontrunner, The
who was the
Fabelmans?
front runner for months on end, an actress.
Yeah, and then people
Michelle
saw
Williams.
stars. I'm
Honestly, the
just
Globes
saying,
could put her in supporting actress if they wanted to be funky.
all I'm saying is I think in a world where we're talking about the Fablemans being almost like maybe we'll have a Stars Born situation where the Globes kind of go off on their own, give Elvis Best Picture drama.
They
But
could.
like in a world where Fablemans is doing so well, why shouldn't it win an acting award, and why not win it for an actor that I think people want to give an Oscar to or a Golden Globe to?
It's possible. Honestly, maybe Elvis will win Best Picture drama.
That'd be funny.
I think that's
Um,
possible.
what was I looking up? Oh, Yu Jun Yu.
If
Was she
she was
nominated?
nominated. I don't think she was. Maybe she was because they just did Minari Dirty. I
She was
remember
not.
that.
Jodie
Yeah.
Foster, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The
Speaking of
Father,
Glenn
Amanda
Close.
Seyfried for Mank, and Helena Zengel, the little girl from News of the World.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That movie died.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So that is
It's
the
the
major
Golden
categories
Globes.
for the Golden Globes.
Yeah. I'm not super confident about most of that, if I'm being honest, just because the Golden Globes are gonna Golden Globe, and it's hard to predict. I'm more confident in my Oscar predictions, where the nominations are months away, than I am in honestly these predictions. But we did our best. We'll see how we'll next week we'll see how accurate we were. But yeah, that's really it this week. Any other final thoughts on the whole awards stuff this week?
Never bet against James Cameron, man. You told me, and I should have
I
listened to you.
did tell you. I did tell you. And now you're more confident than me.
I know that's how it works.
It just, yep. We switch. Yep. And probably, yeah. Next week you'll have kicked it out and I'll have it in picture. So
Yeah,
who
I'll
knows?
jump back
Next
to
week we may
collecting.
have seen it. Yeah. No, not next week. The following week
Yes.
after that.
Do you have your tickets? Are you
I
seeing
do.
it in 3D?
I am, but I haven't seen a
That'd be
3D
fun.
movie in forever.
I bet you somebody makes a joke during the Oscars where they're about to present the Best Picture clip, and they're
They'll
like,
have their glasses.
they're gonna give out 3D glasses. That'd be funny.
Yep. Yeah.
He's gonna bring 3D back. Who would have thought that was possible?
I know. I know. Yeah.
Ah.
I'm looking forward to the Jimmy Kimmel jokes. Just kidding. I'm not. But yeah. That's it for the Oscar stuff this week. Anthony, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on this crazy, chaotic hellscape known as Twitter at Anthony
Discussing the
_post.
Sight and Sound Top 100.
Yes, go check out my list. Let me know if you've seen any of them and if you agree with my picks. And yes, at Anthony _post on Twitter, on Instagram, on Letterbox, and spoilers ahead with Anthony Post. Once I get through finals, I'll be uploading videos of Babylon early for all of you, and Glass Onion when we get closer to the Netflix release, and Avatar, of course. So stay tuned, and then eventually top 10 of the year. I can't believe we're already there.
Oh my god, that's insane. I still have so much to see. I'm getting anxiety already. Yeah, I can be found on Twitter and Hive at Oscar Film FC.
Are you using Hive?
No, isn't it down? I don't know. I'm not. I'm just
I got it just in case. So I'm also on
it's
that.
the backup.
I'm not
It's
on
the
it.
backup. I have to make sure people know the backup in case something goes down, But yeah, that's this week. Lots of stuff this week. Plenty of stuff to discuss next week, I'm sure. We'll have the Golden Globe nominations. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week.